2 hours ago. So shouts out to the person that alerted me that this was being posted.
Where's Nancy? Where is Nancy anyway?
I don't know if I should reveal my source. It was brown sauce. It was red sauce. It was tomato sauce.
Bang!
I'm a cat.
Fact.
Do's and don'ts.
I done a murder.
Ooh! So, the defamation case has been such a long and painful journey for me. 3 years now, and it's taken such a toll on my mental well-being. There are things that have happened which mean I can't even talk about the situation anymore because it's just used against me. I'm only a litigant in person, doing the best I can without legal representation, comma, and it's exhausting, comma preposition. That's not written by Alan. This is written by his daughter, or Kaka. As I approach my 70th birthday, all I really want is peace. This has consumed so much of my life, and it's so hard to keep going. But my patrons, you're my lifeline. You've kept me going through all of this with money. And I honestly don't know how I'd manage without you, financially. I just hope this nightmare ends soon so I can finally have some peace and move forward. I mean, he's talking like, peace and like, there's murder victims out there. Anyway, look, you're my friends. You're my friends. We are a community that lost so many of our team. That's possibly Alan, or maybe they've written it like that to make it look like Alan. Many. The illiterate arsehole. I'll be back as soon as I can. We're having a little get-together. You're not just my patrons, you're my friends, and we're a community that's been through so much together, especially with how many of our team we've lost. That's the same thing as he's just said before. I appreciate every one of you for sticking by me through all of this. You truly mean the world to me. In the meantime, here are some classic ads videos, classic advertisements to get us through these toughest times. I hope they bring some comfort and a bit of joy as we navigate everything together. Stay strong, and I'll be back with you all soon. So I think the court case is coming very soon then. But because he does this, doesn't he? He just decides he's not going to do any streaming because he's too stressed for the court case. So it might be coming up very soon. Some classic ads, classics, Breda, Leyland, Locked, and add classic McCann. So to get us through this toughest of times, let's watch Alan talking about the McCanns from yesteryear. Not even the donkey's laughing. What's this on? This is his patron. AD Classics there, look. I don't know what that one is, but if you're a patron of his, you're getting some classic videos. And the thing is, as a patron of his, you pay for the classic videos. That's part of the offering. And if you scroll down long enough, which I'm not going to be able to do now, there are endless posts that literally are just, oh look, there's that tarot scammers one again. Obsessed talkers and tarot scammers again. But if you scroll down long enough, there are endless posts that have nothing on them because he links to videos that don't exist on YouTube. I mean, it's going to be a while if you scroll down long enough. But the point was that when you join his Patreon, you get access to all his old videos, but they were all uploaded to YouTube. Have you seen this cat? The important, does anyone know this woman? Have you seen this cat? Like if you scroll down long enough though, you get to the YouTube ones and they're all just like posts that say AD says this and that, and it's just links to a video that doesn't exist because obviously his YouTube got deleted. So the irony here is that by signing up to Patreon in the past, as many of these people did, or whomever there is that is still signed up, those people have had access to his posts from the past and they don't contain anything. So the classics is a collection that should exist that doesn't because it all got deleted. I don't know where he's getting these classic videos from. Apparently someone sent him a load of his old videos. I was in talks with someone to try and get hold of those as well. I never ended up following that through actually. But I'd pay for them, because they'd make fucking great content for me to go through. But yeah, so it feels like he's gone turtle shell. I wonder if his Rumble is going to have the old things on it. And that probably feels like, and I don't know, we'll just check the case board in a second as well, but Like, it's quite likely that he's not going to do anything at all for a week or two. Like, strong. Maybe he's going to do his TikTok still because they don't require any work. But, you know, any of this is going to, you know, his Rumble's gone down the shitter anyway. He knows it. His search for Nicola Bulley response video has got 500 views maximum, if that. I mean, is he still paying for the views? Because what's the point? I think he might be, but, you know, for his own ego. But 500 views on that and 18. So it's just toilet, isn't it, his Rumble? He knows it as well. He knows his Rumble is toilet. And his TikTok is also toilet. Like, with shit view numbers, because he's a shit racist. So...
Okay, here's how we do it. We need to form a Jesus Christ party. It says in the Bible, if we don't follow the...
Oh my God. Wait, where's Grumpy Grannies? I'm sorry I used blasphemy in this context then, but oh my fucking days. Like, what on earth is he saying? Alan is the most amoral shit you can imagine. He's not a Christian. He doesn't follow any of the principles of Christianity. Like, he's a shit. Like, how on earth is he saying this? Even the first phrase. He doesn't go to church. He doesn't read the Bible. He likes poker and sadism. Mind you, red hot poker and a bit of sadism. That could have been the church way back. Way, but no, come on.
Lord, then another religion would come to our country and swallow us up. It's happening. We're not religious anymore. Let's just say Catholics.
It's secularisation, Alan, yeah. Welcome to the modern world.
Protestants, Church of England, anybody that believes in God Almighty, Jesus Christ, Jews.
Listen, Jews, you're going to have a problem getting these people together to all fight the Muslims, aren't you? Because historically, the reason there are all these different sects is because they've all been fighting each other. Well, not literally, all those Christian sects weren't all literally fighting each other, but like, what is Alan saying? What he's saying is, it's time for everyone to rally round against the Muslims. Because he's a nasty racist.
We should have a party called Jesus Christ Party. And then the government...
Right, the Jews won't want to join that. They literally killed him. They don't think he's the son of God. They're angry about it to this day.
Let's just say Catholics, Protestants, Church of England, anybody that believes in God Almighty, and Jesus Christ, Jews. We should have
Jesus Christ, Jews. Like, does he not understand anything? Is there no subject on which this man cannot fuck up? Jews. Jesus Christ. Anyone who likes Jesus, really. The Jews. I mean, that's 30 seconds into this. This is gold. Pure gold. I'm telling you his TikTok is dog shit, but this is pure gold.
Okay, here's how we do it. We need to form a Jesus Christ party. It says in the Bible, if we don't
Alan's into politics these days.
follow the Lord, then another religion would come to our country and swallow us up. It's happening. We're not religious anymore.
Is Alan going to turn evangelical Christian in his latter years now? Is that the plan? Like, what the fuck is even going to happen?
Let's just say Catholics, Protestants...
Hang on, wait.
England, anybody that... Okay, here's how we do it. We need to form a Jesus Christ party. It says in the Bible, if we don't follow the Lord, then another religion would come to our country and swallow us up. It's happening. We're not religious anymore. Let's just say Catholics, Protestants, Church of England, anybody that believes in God Almighty, Jesus Christ, Jews. We should have a party called Jesus Christ Party. And then the government will listen to us, because at the moment we're branded racist and far right. If we were the Jesus Christ Party, and I've just looked up the law now, equality...
You could still be fucking racist and far right, even under the banner of Christ, if you wanted to be. Politics and religion do not... Like, oh my God. Sorry, I blasphemy. What is he? Is the man... Like, I know inside his head he's got a boiled egg instead of a brain, yeah? But still, he surprises me. Like, this is why Alan is just like this gift that keeps on giving. Like, you know, when he dies, I'm going to celebrate, but there will be a tinge of sadness in that he's never going to say anything fucking stupid again. But maybe that'll be a positive.
Act. Or not one religion or branch of religion overrides another. All religions are equal in the eyes of the UK. We're not being treated equal, are we? Let's talk about bringing in a Islamophobia rule that you can't talk about the Muslim religion. What about blasphemy? There already is a blasphemy rule, but no one's taken any notice of it, are they? Some people call us infidels and we should be wiped out in some of their religious books. We can't have this. We have to form a Jesus Christ Party, whatever religion you are, so then we can march down Regent Street, we can march in Trafalgar Square in the name of the Lord. That we want to keep Britain, Britain. We want to keep Britain, Britain, please. And then we'd be a minority, wouldn't we? And we'd get the same rights as the other minorities that are getting special treatment. No one can dispute us marching for the Lord Almighty.
Okay. Although infiltrating church groups with pockets of right-wing fascist resistance may seem like a good idea on the surface. I mean, to be honest, the irony of this is that, again, using the irony, is that this is where it comes from. Evangelical Christian lobbying groups in America are the ones that see these hard right-wing ideas against homosexuality and, you know, because of the virtues and the strict adherence to a strong religious doctrine, isn't it? Some of them, like, they don't want you to have an abortion, some of them. I mean, this is... Catholicism does that as well, like, so, like, there are actually, like, reasons to say that that's maybe some of the like the place that some of these ideas come from as well. Like, these two ideas do sort of go together, like evangelical Christianity and right-wing politics. They do go together. Like, Trump courts the vote of the evangelical Christian groups, doesn't he? like Alan's just cottoning on. The man's such an idiot. And also, won't the people who love God be a bit offended at your hijacking of their religion for your fucking politics? Are you wearing a t-shirt under that jacket? No. No.
Then we'll be on equal terms with other religions that march and demand stuff. Then we can start demanding stuff. We can demand that schools have prayers. We can demand that we have carol singers.
We do have prayers in schools, in Church of England and schools. Church of Alan. We're going to start the Church of Alan. And really, he just wants to use God as a weapon.
Because we're a minority, you know. We can bring back carols, yeah. We can bring back Christmas cards. Oh dear. What would happen if we had a Jesus Christ party? That would put the cow amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it? Because who could put down a Jesus Christ party? Who could say, no, you're not allowed to have a Jesus Christ party? You could stand as an MP for Jesus Christ. They've got 5 MPs for Gaza. Imagine if Jesus Christ...
This is one of the most offensive things that I've heard him say in about a fortnight. What? Where the fuck? What? Do you see what I mean? Listen, we should start a political party called the Jesus Christ Party, and they can't stop us. Like, so I mean about how funny I found the first viewing of his review of the Nicola Bulley documentary. Like my second review of this, I'll get eggy and I'll start picking out the bits and, you know, why it's stupid. But my first viewing of it, always with Alan, is just... Did you hear what he just said?
We could make a comeback in Great Britain. We could change society, couldn't we?
You'd have to start going to church first and reading the fucking Bible and being kind to people. They won't want your lot. God. God. I mean it now. This isn't blasphemy. I mean it, God. Thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. For fuck's sake. We're going to use God as a weapon so that we can have a go at the Muslims. Bring back the Crusades is what I say. To Jerusalem. Oh, Russell Brand's gone that way, hasn't he? Yeah. No, Russell Brand's done that because he got caught doing sex offences. Didn't he, or something?
Church bells on a village green on a church. Perhaps this was meant to be all along. That we need to be... Well, all churches are closing down, one after the other. Maybe it's time for a resurgence of Jesus Christ. In a country that's supposed to believe in him, we're being swamped with people that...
And maybe you're the man to lead it. And maybe it should be predicated on selfish right-wing values. Antagonistic to people that come from the very countries that Jesus himself walked the land of. Jesus of fucking Nazareth. Yeah? Like, we should be letting... a more intolerant version of Jesus. One that would say, love thy neighbour, but don't offer them any fucking space. Thank you very much, but there's full room at the inn. Alan, do you remember Alan using the full at the inn expression to say about our country? It's too full. Like, there's no room in the inn. You know what Jesus would think of you, Alan? You fucking shitbag. You total shitbag. Like... It's a bastardisation of Christianity to suit your own selfish ends, yeah? And that's what you're preaching here then, yeah? Oh, I'd love to see it. I would love to see it. I don't think he knows the first thing about Christianity or the Bible. Not like, you know, I think he knows the first thing, like, you know, Jesus died on the cross for our sins and like, you know, in fact, I don't even, like, he said full at the end like it was a good thing. Honestly, I don't think he knows the first thing. He now wants to stir up a religious war as well as a race hate war, basically. Like, this is one of our... Is this one that's come out of his own head, or is this the propaganda of the right wing taking him so far that he's now going to sign up to evangelical Christianity? It'll be American style as well. It'll have to be, because that's the people who are driving this. Like, maybe. Oh, it's so... What is this?
Don't believe in him. So we're a minority. Let's give Jesus Christ his voice back in Great Britain. You can only hope. Okay, here's how we do it.
I challenge Alan, I challenge him to just say anything that Jesus said or anything out of the Bible without reading it from somewhere, just off the top of his head. Not the Ten Commandments, that's too easy, but he won't know the Ten Commandments off the top of his head. In fact, I guarantee Alan doesn't know the Ten Commandments off the top of his head. Guarantee it. I challenge him to quote a parable, quote a verse without looking. Just so many of the values of Christianity are in such contrast to his behaviour. It's just incredible. All the while, I've got Grumpy Granny in my head. I'm imagining Grumpy Granny because I don't think I'm out of the realms of talking out of the realm, talking outside of the box. I don't think I'm being rude here to say that she's a devout Catholic, and although that means that some of our opinions maybe on certain issues don't coalesce, I still think that's good that she's a devout Catholic. I'm happy for her, and I think it's a good thing to be, really. Catholicism, like I said earlier, you might say, I don't know what her opinions are on this, I'm not speaking for her, but you might say, you can't use a condom or something, and then there's issues knocking on from that, aren't there? Knocking up from that. But there are issues and things, there are things to talk about, fine, but being religious in a majority of a way, I would say, is a positive thing, isn't it? It's like, morality, something Alan doesn't have, and her, I just know that her hearing Alan saying this is going to just I think she'll need to do a video react, basically, to teach Alan a little bit about fuck. I keep swearing, I swear too much, but someone should tell Alan what Jesus would think of him, and it'll be. I'll tell you what she'd do. I know she'll be watching this as well and thinking this, because we both know it. Me and Grumpy Grannies both know it. It's what Jesus would do is offer him kindness. And that's the hard bit that me and Grumpy Grannies, because we're human, we can atone for our sins and we can do our confession and say, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I had a real go at Alan this week, but he was being a real shitbag. And we can deal with that. But Jesus wouldn't go in hard on Alan, even though it's Alan. Jesus was known for that. Turning the other cheek and being nice to people. He did turn the tables in the moneylenders in the temple. He got well eggy about the moneylenders in the temple. And if you follow other but outside of Christian traditions, because Christianity in the Bible is like a small, narrow. There are other tellings of the Jesus story. He had a younger life and stuff. So there are other stories out there, but I'll stick to the Christian. I want to say mythology, but not being disrespectful there, but the Christian story of Jesus without the outside stories that come from other places for this one. But he likes Christmas, yeah, you're right, he likes Christmas. Little baby Jesus, yeah.
We need to form a Jesus Christ party. It says in the Bible, if we don't follow the Lord, then another religion will come to our country and swallow us up. It's happening. We're not religious anymore. Let's just say Catholics, Protestants, Church of England, anybody that believes in God Almighty, Jesus Christ, Jews. We should have a party called Jesus Christ Party, and then the government will listen to us.
That's why I think Islam might be, onto something, because Saladin would have cut his head off in the Crusades.
Because at the moment,
in Minecraft, in the Crusades,
we're branded racist and far right. If we were the Jesus Christ Party, and I've just looked up the law now, Equality Act, or not one religion or branch of religion overrides another. All religions are equal in the eyes of the UK. We're not being treated equal, are we? Let's talk about bringing in a Islamophobia rule that you can't talk about the Muslim religion. What about blasphemy? There already is a blasphemy rule, but no one's taking any notice of it, are they? Some people call us infidels and we should be wiped out in some of their religious books. We can't have this. We have to form a Jesus Christ party, whatever religion you are, so then we can march down Regent Street. We can...
Wait, a Jesus Christ party, whatever religion you are.
March in Trafalgar Square in the name of the Lord. That we want to keep Britain, Britain. We want to keep Britain, Britain, please. And then we'd be a minority.
We want to keep Britain, Britain in the name of Jesus our Lord. We want to keep Britain, Britain. Oh my...
Wouldn't we? And we get the same rights as the other minorities that are getting special treatment.
Except if you check, Christianity and being white still puts you in the fucking majority. You won't be a minority because you are in the majority, you fucking privileged bastard.
No one can dispute us marching for the Lord Almighty.
No. No one would dispute that. What about marching for... Like, how close is this to fucking Nazism? Like, how close? Is it even worse? Is it going like even further back? Should we just go? Should we forget the rules and should we just have the king decide whose head can get cut off? We need to go back to when Britain was Britain. And the king could just cut your head off.
Then we'll be on equal terms with other religions that march and demand stuff. Then we can start demanding stuff.
Is he going on about a free Palestine movement?
We can demand that schools have prayers. We can demand that we have carol singers because we're a minority now.
They definitely still have carol singers.
We can bring back carols, yeah. We can bring back Christmas cards. Oh dear.
We still have Christmas cards. What? Where did Christmas cards go?
What would happen if we had a Jesus Christ party? That'd put the cat amongst the pigeons, wouldn't it? Because who could put down a Jesus Christ party? Who could say, no, you're not allowed to have a Jesus Christ party? You could stand as an MP for Jesus Christ. They've got 5 MPs for Gaza. Imagine if Jesus Christ would make a comeback in Great Britain.
Like the second coming. Jesus Christ. And they toot the horns and it's the second coming. And he comes back to earth. And all over the world, Christians all celebrating like, you know, it's like Revelation at the end of the Bible. It's like the end. It's like the second coming of Jesus. And he goes straight to Luton to kick out all the Muslims. And he casts out all the Muslims from Britain. And he says, pie and chips for everyone. Get rid of all those fucking foreigners. Chicky Chang Wang, fuck off. Jesus is back. Go back to fucking Chicky Chang China, you fucking Ching Chong bastards. Jesus is back. and sinking all the boats. And turning all the water into Carling. Carling Black Label. Get yourselves a pint, lads. We're on the march. And like all over the world, all the people that were Christian all their lives and followed the the religion and good people, all the nuns and all that, the Pope, they're all going to be well disappointed. They're going to be like, oh no, why did I spend my life? I spent my life devoted to this man, divine, this divinity. He's come down, he's a right arsehole. All the fucking Christians that are trying to get over on the boats. Anyone from Africa, fuck them. He's been real mean to us. The Jews got in as well, though. The Jews were allowed in. Alan wanted the Jews in the team. I just want them. Second coming of Jesus. And he's there like fucking Tommy Robinson. Even Tommy Robinson won't even come in the country, will he? I'm like, what's Jesus going to say? You've really disappointed me being kind to all these immigrants. You're giving them shelter. That wasn't in the Bible. Oh, no, wait, it was. You took the story of the Good Samaritan too literally, didn't you, all of you chuffers? I would have edited that one out. I don't even put that in. Jesus is back.
We could change society, couldn't we?
No, you can't.
Church bells on a village green on a church. Perhaps this was meant to be all along. That we need to be... Well, churches are closing down, one after the other. Maybe it's time for a resurgence of Jesus Christ. In a country that's supposed to believe in him, we're being swamped with people that don't believe in him. So we're a minority.
Swamp donkeys.
Let's give Jesus Christ his voice back in Great Britain. You can only hope. Okay, here's how we do it.
Alan's a sick man. Alan's a sick man.
Okay, there is another side to me, and that's a Chelsea fan. I am the Chelsea pensioner. I've been supporting these guys since 19...
He's prepared to say Chelsea pensioner, even though he doesn't realise it's offensive to the people that fought in the war and are the actual Chelsea pensioners.
60. That's a long time, isn't it? Because I said, what team was champions when I was born, Dad? He looked it up. 1955, Chelsea. So, all right, I'm going to support Chelsea, and I have done, ever damn since.
Right, well, that's being a glory supporter then, isn't it, Alan? That's called being a glory supporter, and it marks you down as being a shit. You should support Exeter, because that's your local team. You're shit.
I have done. And I must tell you, in this first episode, Chelsea pensioner, right? Cool Chelsea pensioner.
And that's a lie as well, isn't it? What's it got to do with his dad? It's a lie. He would have said, who's champions now? Chelsea. I love Chelsea. And then they would have gone off being champions. And you thought, oh, that's not good, is it? They're not champions anymore. And he probably supported a different team while they were champions. And then Chelsea got good again and he went back to being Chelsea. He's a glory hunter.
Favourite player now is Cole Palmer, but I'll tell you about that in another. But at the time, I first went up there to watch Chelsea in the shed around 69, 70. And it was swinging time at King's Road. And let me tell you, the Chelsea team, right? You may not have heard of these guys. It was amazing. Peter Bonetti in goal, that year let down England when Gordon Banks was poisoned.
Right, he's got it open on the computer in front of him, so I've got no confidence that Alan remembers these players, or even any confidence that he really went to see them.
Had stomachache, and Pete Bonetti, we were winning 2-0, and they took off Bobby Charlton in the 1970 World Cup in Mexico, winning 2-0 against West Germany, right, of all people, and they took Bobby Charlton off to give him a rest for the next round. And Peter Bonetti started slinging them in the net, and we ended up losing 3-2. So I sort of forgive him for that. It was called the Cat. And then we had like unsung hero like Marvin Hinton, who you don't know much about. Ian Hutchinson with the longest throw in football. David Webb, hard nut. I'm telling you the reserves as well. John Phillips, reserve. John Dempsey.
So he's reading it off a list, isn't he? Because there's no way he remembers the reserves and calls them the reserves. It's just a thing he's reading on the computer. Alan's content now is opening up the computer. He always has been, but it's so blatant on TikTok. He's just opening up the computer and he thinks it's great, the stuff he's reading, so he just reads it out on TikTok and thinks it's content, and it's not.
Irish centre-half, classy. Eddie McCready, tough tackling Scottish fullback. And Johnny Hollins, the gentleman, English international, classy defender. Up front, Alan Birchinall, who we nicked from Sheffield United.
Now, if anyone's stupid enough to watch this, and there are people apparently in the comments that are stupid enough to watch this, no, I'm not though. Let's see what he's got here.
What do you think? You tell me. Peter Folding.
What I think, Alan, is in your desperation to be like, oh, I was right, you're doing this, but you said you weren't going to do any more of this because the families of the murder victims... Oh, it's not a murder, isn't Nicola Bulley? But do you remember, just recently in your video, you said because the families, you feel so strongly for the families, you couldn't bear to do any more of this. Were you back on it straight away? Don't you care about the families anymore? No. Because you think this is actually Nicola Bulley in the river and that's a picture of her? Then what the fuck are you doing broadcasting it? I don't really think it's her. I think Peter Folding is trying to make something out like it's her, and I don't think it's her because the police dived that site and they didn't say it was Nicola Bulley. So I'm happy to show those pictures because I don't think it's her. But Alan, on the other hand, probably thinks it's her and is showing the pictures because he cares so much about the family that he doesn't care a fuck anymore. What's wrong with the man?
Has released a report. If you're just joining us, this is supposed to be Nicola Bulley.
Oh.
Body.
I love it when you do the big finger. This is supposed to be Nicola Bulley, this is. Is it? Is it supposed to be? Does that mean you don't think it is? Because either way, Alan, you're a shitbag. If you don't think it is, then you're contradicting yourself from before. I just want to get a good screen of his finger in the right place for the screenshot. He's a numpty, isn't he? He can't even move his finger around properly to point on the green screen.
In the river. The question you got to decide is, do you believe Peter Folding? And why didn't the police want to look at this sonar? At least look at it, please. So here's a statement in response to the BBC documentary.
Is he thick? The police took that sonar imagery and sent it to a third party because they were concerned. Because what happened, I'm going to put the music back on because it was nice. What happened was that Peter Folding came forward to it was the inquiry that was happening, I think. Was it the inquiry or the... they didn't use Peter Folding for the inquiry, so when the IOPC report was taking place, the report into it, Peter approached them and said, hey, they didn't use me for the inquiry, the autopsy and all that, they didn't use me, but I've got these sonar pictures which prove she was in there. So they thought it was pretty fucking serious. So 2 weeks before the IOPC report dropped, they took these pictures and had them examined by a third party at a university. I can't remember, they're sonar expert from the University of so-and-so, yeah? And they came back and said, no, this is not a human body. it doesn't. Our expertise would say no. And so the police looked at them, the third party looked at them, and they said to Peter, no, we checked our records, this site was dived. You said there was something in there, look, but there wasn't. And it looks like you're trying to save your reputation by coming up with a spurious picture to prove that you found her, when in actual fact we're about to publish a report that says you didn't find her and you were a problem to the investigation and a hindrance to the police. So when you realised that Peter was about to be thrown under the bus and he suddenly came up with this, doesn't sound so good, does it? So what happened after that was they did a press conference. The police, the IOPC people, did a press conference to say, hey, mainstream media, please come have a little chat. These pictures, you're going to see these because Peter Faulding's going to bring them to you. Sky News, BBC News, Telegraph, Guardian, whomever. Get it in your heads now. And this was a private press conference between the police and the press. So it wasn't reported on by the press. It was reported on in the IOPC report. So it did happen. Apparently, if you believe the IPC report, which I do, right? So they said, look at these pictures. I'm paraphrasing. Look at these pictures, see them. Peter Faulding's going to tout them round. We've checked them. We've put them up through the university guy and whomever, we put them up and they've come back negatives. And like Peter Faulding's probably just trying to save his own career here. So don't be fooled into publishing these on Sky News if Peter Faulding comes round. And so Peter Faulding couldn't talk to anyone on the mainstream media about it, or he could, but they wouldn't publish it because they weren't interested in publishing. Like, they'd been able to go up the chain and say, well, what if these aren't real? And they've got corroboration from an independent expert and the IOPC to say they're not real, yeah, essentially. So the mainstream press are not going to publish these as if they're real, because that would be stupid, wouldn't it? Because they could be liable for publishing bad stuff. So you haven't seen these in the mainstream press. Peter was forced to go to Luke on Break the Ice and utilise his little channel as his mouthpiece, yeah? And now since then, these pictures have been leaked in social media, and I've covered the leaking of these pictures in social media, and I did say, I think pretty much said that I don't think that Peter Faulding would want to stand by these, and that the reason he's leaked them, I think he was probably responsible for the leak, is because, he had to be responsible for some leak because he's the one that's got the pictures, is to check what the response would be and to, get them out there, so to speak, in advance of him finally sort of showing them. If it went well, the leak, then he might stand by and go, oh look, no, they are mine, or to at least find out what sort of critique there would be, so he could then make more adjustments before he finally showed them. And anyway, here they are. So it turns out they're not real pictures of Nicola Bulley in the river, according to all the legitimate agencies and reasonable people. The unreasonable people and Peter Faulding himself, whose career hinges on this being the case, despite having stood on the riverbank himself, having taken this scan and said, she's not there, there's no reason for me to suggest she's in the river, I don't think she's in the river, I've looked every inch of the river, she's not there. Yeah, despite it, because either he was lying back then or he was lying, so this is not good for Peter Faulding, but it's the best he can fucking do. Okay, so that's why I'm quite confident and happy that I can show these images on my streams, because I don't think they're Nicola Bulley. But Alan didn't know any of that stuff apparently. He hasn't remembered any of it, and instead he's going to say what he just said here, which is fucking stupid.
Nicola Bulley, body in the river. The question you got to decide is, do you believe Peter Faulding? And why didn't the police want to look at this sonar? At least look at it, please.
Yeah.
So here's a statement in response.
At least look at it. Well, they obviously did look at it, didn't they? Because they included a conversation about it in the IOPC report. At least look at it, Alan.
To the BBC documentary, Finding Nicola, from Peter Faulding.
The documentary was called The Search for Nicola.
Every drowning is tragic and devastating for families. The very public nature of the sad drowning of Nicola Bulley has been made even more traumatic for the family and friends by being thrust into the public eye.
What is it with these dummies who can't read, thinking that it's a good idea to go on the internet and read and show themselves up to have a learning age of 4, a reading age of a 7-year-old? What is it with these dummies who don't have adequate comprehension skills?
I agree, Peter. Having every...
Oh, that cut
What do you
well.
think? Tell
That
me.
cut nicely. Good TikTok. I watched it. 885 other people did.
Something really strange has happened.
Yeah.
In April this year, the minimum salary for a skilled worker visa is $38,700 a year. That's a massive increase, right? Because last year it was only 28 and 27. Why has it gone up so much?
It's the cost of living, Alan. What it is if you're going to come here as a migrant, like a skilled migrant, a legitimate migrant, then you need a job that pays you a certain amount of money so you can live here. And if you don't have that, so priced out of work visas this year, minimum wage. Like I'm assuming this European workers priced out of work visas this year, the minimum wage 38. I'm assuming that it's saying from what Alan's put. It's hard to know exactly what he's talking about, but I'm assuming he means that the minimum amount of money you must be earning in order to come here as a skilled migrant is a certain amount of money, and that they put that amount of money up. And my guess is because if you don't earn enough money, you're not actually like coming here as a skilled migrant, are you? And you won't be able to afford to live here, and there'll be problems. So you need to prove that you're earning a certain amount of money. So the fact that it's gone up, surely that would he thinks that's a good thing, no? Because he's against all this migration and all this stuff, and like I'm confused about. I think he's confused about his opinion here, because again, like a lower number there means more people can come here with lower skilled jobs, essentially, can't they? If you're required to earn 12 grand a year in order to come here and say that you're working a skilled job, then 12 grand a year isn't as much as 38 grand a year, so it's easier to come here. But if you put it up, then you're going to need a better job in order to come here. So you're saying you need better job, more like it's not about. He's saying it prices out European workers. It doesn't, because it prices out people who aren't prepared to work jobs that are this number. Like European people can also earn that amount of money. Anyone can earn that amount of money, like in the jobs that they can come here for. What it does is it says lower skilled jobs don't get done by immigrants because, and this is so fucking weird. This is right. This, like, what do you call it? Okay, so like lower skilled jobs must be done by local people because the immigrants can't. If you like, let's say the job doesn't pay 40. Let's say the number's 40 grand a year, yeah, and the job doesn't pay that. Then no one from outside the country can come in and take the job because they can't get a visa for it. So lower skilled jobs must be done by local, like native people, by whatever the word is, I'm just going to say local, fuck it. And higher paid jobs can be taken by foreign people. So what you'll do is you'll create a society where the local people that are born here, like that live here on the British people will do all the shit jobs, and the good jobs will go to the people from foreign countries that can come and do isn't that a bad thing? But by pushing this up, what we're saying is the people that come here have got to take the really high powered paid jobs, and the more it's a mechanism to reduce lower income immigration. Yeah, lower income, I think Alan should be in favour of it from his right wing perspective.
So I've checked out minimum wages in UK, and it's going to shock you because, like, let's say, if you go to London, most people who are waiters, they're like French, Spanish, Polish, all those sort of people, Europeans, aren't they? Well, they're over here on work.
Right, so you fucking stupid bastard. The reason that's popular, the reason that's been popular, the reason that's been happening is because we've been in Europe, haven't we? And it's been free movement. So they don't have to get a visa at all. They could just come here and work. And same for me. If I want to go to Germany and just work in a cafe, I can just do it. Well, not now. I need the visas and all the setup. It's just, I can't believe he doesn't understand this properly. This isn't even what he's arguing about.
Visas. They've been priced out. They really have. A waiter wouldn't expect to get any more than 29,000, and that's top.
Yeah. So what we're saying, Alan, is it's not that they've been priced out. we've gone out of Brexit, so now they can't come here without getting a job. Like a Polish person or whatever you said, like can't come here without getting a job that pays better than that. So now they can't do the waiter jobs. So they can go to people that are British if they want to do them, or there's going to be a lack of labour in the workforce. Labour being people that do jobs. There's going to be a lack of it. So then we're going to have a problem with our economy. And then the choice is either they pay more money for those, they offer more money for those jobs, they pay those people more money to attract those people, or to allow them to come in from foreign countries and take the jobs, in which case you're going to pay more for all of the stuff. Like you're going to pass that cost on to the consumer. Or there's fewer people doing the job, so things like what's the other option when there's a lack of labour and fewer people to fill the positions? I wonder what else would happen from that economically. Like, it looks like we're creating a bad system, doesn't it, Alan? And you're arguing in favour of it, are you? Or you're now against it? Because we're already down that pipe.
Wait till I get 23.
So yeah, I suppose like construction's a good example there. Yeah, like, you know, people could end up getting more money for the job essentially, because like if you want to keep, or you close the business. Like the other option is you find a way of removing the people from the equation. You automate the coffee. Like, you know, you don't have baristas anymore like serving coffee. You just have coffee machines, because we can't have baristas, because like if I'm running the coffee shop, like this happened across the industry, and we don't have the amount of people working there that we need. We either pay the people better money, or we remove the people. We close the business and change it. Like, it's just.
So,
I think with construction and other jobs like where they're skilled, like because that's skilled. Bear in mind, the prices go up and the people take the jobs, and you know that's what happens. It's like supply and demand, and like. But with this, I think it's different. I think it will lead to like problems in the economy where instead of, because those people that would come here and do those jobs, yeah, like let's say there's more lower skilled jobs being filled by people from abroad, that means that there's more money in our economy. They come from a different country and they create money in our economy because they're earning money, we're taxing their pay. They're spending money, we're taxing their spending. They can send it all home if they want, we'll tax it on the fucking way through the bank. Like they spend money in the economy and they generate money in the economy by doing the job. So that's part of our GDP and it grows our economy. But without them, our economy starts to recede and shrink. You mean low-level construction as well, like welding and putting prefab? Okay, yeah, but even then there's a bit of skill involved, I think. But yeah, I'd agree as well, yeah. Like, I'm thinking about a job you can walk into without having got a certificate. Like just working in a coffee shop. Like I'm thinking that the problem with that is like if you are having any sort of skill involved, then you're worth your money, but like to a certain extent. But like here, it's going to be a point where what's the point in selling coffee and paying people fucking thousands of pounds to do the coffee? Like you won't want to. You'll just put coffee machines in your shops and just fuck the people off. Like even the cleaners will earn loads of money, won't they? Or either that or it'll be a labour, like I don't know, it's a weird one, because if there's a labour shortage you would think prices would go up, but they won't, not for things like cleaners and, you know, like unskilled jobs. Not really, will they? Not to like, or will they? Do you think that's what will happen? Cleaners will just start earning loads of money? Like, I mean, cleaning itself is not an industry that is devoid of profit, but you know what I mean, just like the cleaner of the coffee shop shouldn't necessarily be earning more than the higher skilled positions where you have to get like more training. I mean, I feel like I'm doing cleaners down here actually, but you know what I mean. Like, I'd have to look into it more actually. I'd have to look into it a bit more deeply to see the effects of the labour shortage. Maybe I should look at it now, because I want to know. I know that there's a supply and demand issue with effects of the labour shortage. I know there's a supply and demand with
My name is Tej van Pettinger from Economics Help, and today we're going to look at the pros and cons of labour shortages. The UK is experiencing quite a few acute labour shortages in certain industries such as lorry drivers, fruit pickers and meat packers. And partly this is a result of Brexit, with a fall in the supply of
This is straightforward economics, and they are going to say
Immigrant.
some of the things that I've just outlined, but I'm sure there's more to it.
labour, which used to do these relatively low-skilled jobs, and now firms are struggling to fill in these vacancies. So it's a good example of free market economics in action. If you have a significant shortage and a fall in supply of labour, then classical economics.
Okay, so this is a shift in the demand in the supply curve. Classical Keynesian economics, a shift in the supply curve. So you've got the point where there's a lot of supply of labour, and the wage is lower because there's lots of people to do the jobs. But then the shift is the amount of supply shift. You can't see the whole thing, sorry. But the shift in the curve from S1 to F2, like you draw a new line, and that's where supply is shorter, so the wage is higher, because demand is static. Well, it's not static. It's not like, actually demand is, okay, so demand is not static, is it? It's not like a straight line. Demand falls as quantity increases. Yeah. Right. Am I saying that right?
Shows how this leads to an increase in wages. And we are seeing this to some extent with rising wages of lorry drivers, meat packers, fruit pickers. And so some people are pointing out that this is a well-deserved wage rise for some of these workers who have been undervalued for quite a long time. And some supporters of Brexit will point to this as signs that this is a benefit, because the low-paid are getting a wage rise. Now, this is true to some extent, but it is worth bearing in mind that a lot of these labour shortages have been ongoing for quite a while. And it's only now that they are very acute.
Like, because I was going to talk about elasticity as well, like to say that some things, like it's good that certain people can get more money, but what if there's not enough people to fill the jobs, and then there are holes? Like
that wages are going up, and even though they've increased, I think the wage increases are still fairly moderate. Above inflationary increases, but not exceptional. And despite the wage increases, firms are still struggling to attract enough workers to fill in the vacancies. And this is because the supply is actually quite inelastic.
Yeah.
And when you're at a position of close to full employment, then workers, they have a choice of jobs. And even though being a meat packer might be 5%, 10% higher wage, it's still unattractive. People don't want to take on the job. And farmers say a similar thing. But even though wages have been increased for picking fruit, many native UK workers don't want to do that. It's hard work. You get outside, you work to get cold. And when you can get a similar wage rate stacking shelves in Tesco, then...
And this is going to sound really bad, and I had a bit of an argument with one of someone about this once, which was that we live in this country, like you live in the Western country, and you work. People come from the system of immigration, like that we were talking about, and like all this. People might come from a foreign country and might have to do the hard jobs, but they earn money and live a good life and have children, and their children can then go to school, even university, and achieve what we consider more, like being given that platform. So it's not to say that you should say, oh, local kids that grow up in Britain, they should all be picking fruit because, they should get off their arse and go and fucking pick some fruit. Actually, what they should do is go to school and university and get better jobs than fruit picking, shouldn't they? And it should be that they have that opportunity because we live in this lovely Western society that gives them that opportunity. So, maybe some of them might end up picking fruit, but, the people that are forced to pick fruit, now, I'm saying, you come from a economy or a society that didn't give you those opportunities. You come without that education. You can still get on the education bandwagon, but, you can also just get straight in and perform a low-level labour job. I mean, this is the issue if you don't do well at school or choose to leave early. You don't have those options, so you end up in a more low-level labour job, don't you? But that option is there for those people that don't have so many options. But if you're born here and you've lived here, and this is like Alan's situation, is he should not be in a position where he's had all those opportunities, and yet when he moves into because if Alan wanted to go and get a job, he would have to go into a low-level wage, he'd be minimum wage working in a coffee shop, wouldn't he, or something? What skills does he have? So yeah, it's interesting because I think there's something to be said in favour of immigration, insofar as we have these holes in our labour shortage. They're unpopular jobs maybe, but people will do them if they are more desperate, I suppose, and then they can afford their children the better opportunities like we've had and we're lucky to have had. So like the better, I think it's better that you have education and healthcare and things like that, and there are countries that don't have it, and I think the people that come from the countries that don't have it, some of the adults that just jump into our system, they can't just say, okay, right, I'm here, so I know how to do everything and I've got all the qualifications. Like, that's difficult, but I'm here, I can perform a task and be paid for it. That's good. Like, I think it's good anyway. Yeah, anyway, carry on.
Farmers have struggled to fill in the vacancies. So on the one hand, we're seeing a rise in wages, but on the other hand, these labour shortages are causing real costs to the economy. Some farmers can't collect all their harvest. There's a shortage of goods being delivered by lorry. And so the consumer is seeing some empty shelves, and the economic output is less than we otherwise would have had. So labour shortage is definitely not without problems. Now, another potential...
So you're reducing the economic output, so you're slowing down the economy essentially, which is going to drive prices up.
benefit of labour shortages is that...
And also, paying people more money to do a job is going to drive prices up.
...acts as a spur to productivity. Because if you can rely on cheap labour, there's less incentive to invest in new technology, new capital. But if farmers are thinking they're not going to be able to get enough workers, then it creates an incentive to try to automate the process.
So productivity is good, isn't it? Automation. I said that as well, didn't I? You're going to just lose the jobs. There just won't be the jobs. So that's good.
And there are at least potential machines that can...
But what will happen is that all the English people that work in the jobs are all going to lose their jobs now overnight, because they were all working in the coffee shops and there weren't anyone to help them. They were doing loads of work and they had loads of work because they're working in the coffee shop, and we've banned all the foreigners and they've got double time and double hours and being paid more. But eventually their employers will say, well, fuck this, we'll have no one in the coffee shop instead, and they'll all lose their jobs. So they'll make hay while the sun shines. They'll get paid a bit more for about a year and then they'll lose their job.
Certain types of...
It's like certain people in certain jobs advance up the chain, like in terms of... there's this, like, for example, you work a low-level labour job, yeah? Like, I'll stick with the coffee shop. You work there in the coffee shop for a year, 2 years, you get a pay rise. Let's say every 2 years you get a pay rise, because it's fair, whatever. It's probably not like that in a coffee shop, but every 2 years you get a pay rise. After a few years, you're getting more money than you were before. And like, you get your 5-year bonus, you've been promoted up. Essentially, you're still making coffee, but now you're the manager, whatever. And like, after a 10-year period, 20-year period, you've got all your benefits, you've got your pension, you've got your pay rises, and actually you're costing the business quite a lot more money than a new trainee. Yeah? And a new trainee can come in, and in a year they can do the same job as you, basically, serving coffee, doing the rota, like doing the stock room or whatever. Like, doesn't take that long to get up to speed, but they don't cost you as much. They haven't had the pay rises. They haven't had the the 10-year bonus or whatever. They haven't been moved up the chain. So when it comes to things get tight and like things happen, like a recession, or whatever, like things get tight in a business, they're going to look at the books and they're going to say, who should we sack? Well, let's sack the new people first, obviously, because they don't know as much. They're not as smart. They've not been here as long. Yeah, but they can do the job and they've been here and they know what they're doing. But the people who've been here a long time, that know what's going on, that have been here for 10 years, they're getting like all these extra bonuses, and they've had their pay raises, and they've got their feet under the table, and but they're costing us quite a lot of money. So let's cut them. And actually, you'll find that the people who you would think would be the business would be more loyal to, those that have served the longest, usually are the ones that have had those pay rises, like I said, over time, and end up getting paid more than they're worth to the business in a tough time. And they're the ones that get maybe early retirement or lose their jobs. And that's not ideal either, is it? So what will happen is the low-level wage people that are getting a slightly higher wage for a bit will end up losing their jobs, is what we're saying, for some industries.
Years, these will probably get better.
Big up, Steve.
So it's not a short-term fix, but in the long term, a shortage of labour may really spur productivity gains, which can lead to higher economic growth in the long term. However, on the other hand, something else might happen. If firms can't get the necessary labour, they may...
This is what I want to know. I'm sure there's this, because I'm remembering, because I've done this in economics when I was at A-level, yeah? I'm remembering there's something else that I'm not catching here. So I'm sure there's something else that's an issue that, simply not having the people to do the jobs is going to cause a problem.
Overseas to where it is. So that's another problem.
Overseas, also, right.
When we look at
so there's another problem. Move it overseas. So it's not going to be a problem for service industries like coffee shops, because you can't put your coffee shop overseas. But if it was car insurance, or I'm trying to think of another low level job that would be easy to move abroad. I was working in a call centre. You know, you answer the phone, you talk to this is why all the call centres are, and everyone complains, don't they? Oh, someone in India on the call centre. Fucking, I wish Britain was like Britain again. We should have, like, Brexit didn't stop the Indians in the call centre. Well, no, it pushed them to that because they would be able to put those jobs in the UK, but now they can't afford to because of the labour shortage. So they send them out to foreign countries where they can afford the labour. Yeah. So we actually lose jobs in our economy. Our economy shrinks again, and we farm things out to foreign countries. Well done, Brexit. Carry on.
Demand that, supposing the UK has had a fall in supply of migrant workers, so the supply shifts to the left, pushes up wages. But also, we have to bear in mind that immigration isn't a one-way situation, because as workers leave, it's true their supply will fall, but also it will cause a fall in aggregate demand. If you get people leaving the economy who are earning money, then they will no longer be spending. So if you get a big...
Oh, this is a good one. If lots of people aren't allowed in here anymore, they're not here spending money in coffee shops, so we don't need to make them coffee. So the economy again shrinks, things get worse. But the benefit is they're not here spending money, so we don't have to do anything for them. Like, provide, there's... I can't believe people argue in favour of this, do you know what I mean? Like, creating a labour shortage by leaving Brexit in favour of, well, those jobs are for British people, but all the economic arguments are against it so far. And you would say, yeah, but we can rebound over time, but it'd take a fucking long time. We're talking like generations of time, and we're talking population growth of extreme numbers. Like, this is actually an argument in favour of illegal immigration, because through Brexit, overnight almost, like not overnight, but there was a cut-off point, and we lost a huge number. Like, there's a swathe of our labour force just, isn't coming here anymore. So get them in quick, even if it's illegal, because bloody hell, like, we could be a sinking ship at this stage. Like, the instability created by that labour shortage leaving from Brexit has caused us problems, yeah, but you don't know how many of those problems have been buffered by immigration, illegal or no. You don't know how many of those problems have been buffered by it, and we could be a sinking ship. And imagine, like, and not many people will remember this that voted Brexit really, but when we joined didn't join the Euro, it was called the European Exchange Rate Mechanism, the ERM, and like, we were in it for like a day, and it crashed the economy, and we came out of it like a day later, and that was like a trading mechanism, and we can recover from it, and we did, but it was an economic crash. It caused a recession, like a full-on ripple effect. It's a full recession. It was called Black Wednesday, like a stock market crash business, but that was like something you could see happening on the leaderboard, the stocks, the numbers. The exchange rate mechanism is on. This is going badly. It's going badly. We're going to pull out. Like, you could see it happening. But with the labour shortage, you can't really see it happening. And like, we could be like, people are saying about how Britain's on the skids and stuff, but we could really be like a sinking ship because of something like this, and it would be an unseen issue until it was far too late, because it's not like a leaderboard, and it's not a ship with water, but like, we're talking about serious like, actually, now I'm thinking about it, we are so lucky to have not gone so far under after Brexit with economic shocks. That's the word, a shock like this to our system. Yeah.
Workers, then you'll get less economic growth and also lower tax revenues. It's worth bearing in mind that immigration into the UK, especially from Europe, which was mostly adults, was a net contributor to the UK budget. So, labour shortages, they are...
And this is an argument. When was this? This was 3 years ago. So this is after Brexit. Oh, you were saying it's after Brexit, isn't it? Economically, it cannot be argued. Like, this is a fact. Immigration was a net contributor. So for every one person that came here as an immigrant, like, legitimately, I'm not talking about on the boats or whatever, but like, immigration, every person that comes here makes our economy stronger. We get more money into the system. We don't end up paying for people. We get more money into the system for the more people that come here. So that was a net contributor. So we've had something that was growing our economy, and we've decided to stop it. So as well as all the factors that would shrink our economy as a result of it, we were not growing either.
That the market isn't working, and it does create incentives. And in theory, we should get rising wages, and this should return the market to equilibrium. But in the real world, this return to equilibrium might be quite slow.
Yeah.
Because...
that's what I'm saying. It might be generations. And I don't think it will play out exactly, because the problem with Keynesian economics in practice is that you tinker with something like interest rates or the money supply, and it's very small tinkering to have a bit of a knock on, but you're not tinkering, or what you're not understanding or engaged with is the human aspect, the psychology, the behaviour, the human behaviour aspect. So a Keynesian approach will work within strict parameters financially in some ways, for like money supply stuff maybe, in broad strokes, but things like this are much more complex. So I don't think it's fair to say that you could predict it with economics.
Market imperfections. People don't necessarily want to do these jobs even at slightly higher pay. And it's also the markets are very competitive. So if you take lorry drivers, a lot of lorry companies say the reason they struggle to increase wages is because supermarkets have so much buying power. They squeeze their profit margins, and they're under pressure to both deliver the goods, but also to keep wages low. And the final point I want to make about this topic is that labour shortages are not the only way to increase wages. You shouldn't have to rely on acute labour shortages like the UK has to have a rise in wages. So, for example, in the Netherlands, lorry drivers through collective bargaining have enabled higher wages.
But that's not the point. So, but could you imagine if they'd enacted Brexit in order to make people feel like they were better off for a short time because wages rose while they crashed the fucking economy around them? Yeah. But yeah, so that's an economic perspective on it. Let's go back to Alan's perspective on it. Yeah.
Hotels advertise. Something really strange has happened. In April this year, the minimum salary for a skilled worker visa.
And as I say, I think he's confusing the two issues. One is the issue of having a labour shortage affect wages, and the other is that the government have got a low end limit on how much money you must earn to become an immigrant in the first place.
Is 38,000.
Big ups in chat. Big up Steve. Big ups Steve.
700 a year.
Big ups all you chuffers. But I've said hello to most of you already, haven't I?
That's a massive increase, right? Because last year it was only 28 and 27. Why has it gone up so much? So I've checked out minimum wages in UK, and it's going to shock you because, like, let's say, if you go to London, most people who are waiters, they're like French, Spanish, Polish, all those sort of people, Europeans, aren't they? Well, they're over here on work visas. They've been priced out. They really have. A waiter wouldn't expect to get any more than 29,000, and that's top. A minimum waiter will get 23. So hotels advertising for waiters, kitchen staff, all that sort of stuff, they won't be able to get people from the EU anymore because they're going to be too expensive. The other big thing that these work visas do are care workers, aren't they? Well, the average wage for a care worker is £22,000 a year. The government, without us knowing, and there's not.
Do you not understand this was why we didn't want the Brexit?
The Labour Party, it was done when it was Conservatives. They've suddenly priced the EU.
And the filter's really having trouble doing his teeth for some reason. Did you notice that when he said they've suddenly... The filter really fucking messing up on his teeth. It's looking really fucking weird around him, like this smoky effect. And then they couldn't have quickly done this if it was the previous government, unbeknownst to you. It's some sneaky thing. Like, it might have been sneaky, but they haven't quickly... It's happened ages ago.
Care workers, aren't they? Well, the average wage for a care worker is £22,000 a year. The government, without us knowing, and it's not the Labour Party, it was done when it was Conservatives, they've suddenly priced the EU out of getting semi-skilled jobs. Totally. So where are they going to go to get the staff now for hotels and whatever, care workers?
They have to be people from our country.
Semi-skilled jobs. Where, you're not going to pay somebody...
They have to be people from our country, and you like that. That's good.
Nearly £40,000, are you?
Yeah, that's it, Alan.
You're not.
Well, that's the choice. Is they have to either pay them 40 grand a year or hire them locally. And if they can't hire them locally, which the problem with if you had any idea the amount of trouble people have got trying to get chefs and things these days, like, yeah, that's the situation we're in now. Welcome to Crashing the Economy 101 by Brexiteers.
That's ridiculous. Why have they done that? That's nearly £16 an hour. That's almost crazy. The previous minimum threshold was 26,200, and that was last year. And the year before it was 25,600. So it's gone up £800 a year, but this year it's gone up by nearly 13,000. This is no coincidence. They priced our European friends out of jobs, so they won't be able to come on work visas anymore. No chance. So who will fill those roles now? It's obvious what they're doing, aren't they? They've got to try to manipulate the population explosion, and instead of, say, I don't know, what would that be?
What population explosion? I think you're explaining that we've had a reduction in the amount of people filling the jobs.
400,000 euro workers coming here on a year's work visa, they won't be able to come. So that allows them to squeeze in another 300,000 or 400,000 immigrants.
If only you could have explained this to all the people that voted for Brexit so they could stop the immigrants, like I was trying to do. If only the people that Brexit would have understood that Brexit was an argument for more immigration of this sort rather than less, that we'd have to bring people from other places than Europe, and you probably would like them less, being as you're a right-wing arsehole. This is so fucking weird. This is Twilight Zone stuff.
So they're massaging the population explosion by cutting down the jobs that were taken by our European friends. How many jobs are nearly £40,000 a year? Not many. Wow. I think it's a discovery only I've made. This is unbelievable. That's my own work.
It's your own work. It's basic economic theory. Is he this stupid? It's my own work. I've discovered it. We were screaming it through Brexit. You weren't listening because you hate immigrants. You've caused there to be more of them. Yeah, now they're the friends. Yeah, the European friends. It's like I don't really want to get political. This will go up on Battery Exhausted, and I hate going on and on about politics, but like this is stupidity more than politics. I don't mind if people voted for Brexit and like had their beliefs because they understood it and still wanted to go that way. Fine. Like there were some people who were willing to cut their nose off to spite their face, but Alan's explaining that we've just cut our nose off to spite our face, and I was like, please don't do that. But you know, here we are. What's your solution? Maybe we should rejoin the EU.
26,000 to 38,000 has priced out 80% of the jobs that are on offer in the semi-skilled labour market in Great Britain.
And you'd be surprised, Alan, how many people from Europe would rather, like, let's say you cut the price of that so you can come here and work for 29 grand or 28 grand or whatever, yeah? Or whatever you said was that. Like, you'd be surprised about how many people from Europe wouldn't do that because you have to fuck around with a visa and come to a country that's removed himself from the European system and you've got different tax and all that. Like, you'd be surprised about how many people would just say, bollocks to that, I'll just go to France or Spain or Germany or wherever that will pay me more money at better working conditions because they're part of the European Convention of Human Rights with the European Court of Human Rights. So they've got better working conditions where they can't just sack me or do this or that. Like, Alan's one of the people who's in favour of arguing against your human rights in a country that's now going to pay you marginally more to do a low-skilled labour job, or just axe the job altogether because it's going to crash the economy. And he thinks that we should reduce the minimum price for skilled labour, which is actually, the minimum price for skilled labour is actually a mechanism that is about controlling immigration. So now Alan's in favour of reducing the immigration controls. Like, what is he even on? What are you on?
And they've done this to manipulate the population explosion.
He's got his Hitler moustache.
And it's also done so we give those jobs, £16 an hour, to immigrants. The trouble there is they're not skilled to do these jobs. They can't speak English, half of them.
They're unskilled jobs, and the reason they're getting more money, as we said, is because people from here don't really want to do them. So you've still got a labour shortage, and you've got rising wages. So now you're saying, Alan, that we've created a situation where the wrong kind of immigrants are getting more money to do the jobs. Well, that's what you wanted if you voted for Brexit. Like, this is the result of this fucking petty nationalism. Yeah.
And they certainly aren't worth £16 an hour. Can someone explain to me? We're being shafted. There's some dodgy dealing going on here. What is the reason behind this massive raise?
It's economics. It's called supply and demand.
In work visas.
Oh, the raise in work visas, that's because of the cost of living, which is spurred on by this problem that we've got. So if everything costs more in our country, then you're going to have to raise the minimum wage for the skilled migrants because they're going to have to afford to. The reason you got this minimum wage is because you can't come to this country and get a shit job and not be able to afford a house, end up sponging off the government for your house. You need to be able to afford everything. You need to be able to afford your rent. So you can't come here unless you're earning enough money. So if everything costs more, then we're going to have to raise that number again and again and again. And it's an ever-increasing problem unless we can fill that labour shortage with unskilled migrants, maybe, but they can't come from Europe. It's almost like we're ruining the country instead of making it better.
What's going on? If you know anything about it, tell me.
I just did. I explained it all to you, you fucking idiot. And there's some Alan for battery exhausted. If you're on battery exhausted, I'll just say you be good, and if you can't be good, you're naughty. But I'm going to play this again right now anyway as well, because...
Okay, here's how we do it. We need to form a Jesus Christ party.
There you go. If you can't be good, you're naughty, and you can come and join our Jesus Christ party, even if you are. Amen to that.